Slam Sector contains levels of brain rot that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Slam Sector After Dark. We have a very special episode today. We're going to be breaking out the Slam scale again to rate the brand new Astra Militarum codex. And we saw you guys in the comments in the last one calling us morons and some other colorful words. So I brought some experts along with me to help out this time.
Quote unquote experts.
Experts. Do you guys know what you're talking about? At least better than I do. So you guys might be familiar with these two guys. First up, we've got Krakduk. Tell everybody who you are and where they can find you.
Hi, I'm Krakduk, and I'm a little moron, but you could find me on my YouTube channel, Krakduk.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and I have both of their YouTube channels linked down in the description there, so check them out. And also joining us today is Cadian Sergeant Steele.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. So Sergeant Steele or Shay or Sergeant Slaughter, if you see me on Hobby Vice's streams every once in a while, they don't let me forget that. But you can find me on YouTube and mostly Instagram. I'm really a picture person, so I'm sure if you've ever seen me at an event, you see me running around with my camera, like taking 12,000 photos of a game.
Oh, definitely.
trying to get in on the action. So, and then more recently doing more YouTube stuff. So getting into that and been enjoying it too.
Nice, very cool. Yeah, make sure you guys check out their stuff. They both put out some incredible content, so check out the Instagram, check out the YouTube there. Big fan. So before we jump in, it would mean a lot if you guys would like and sub if you haven't already. We're hoping to hit 5,000 subs by the end of the year, so that would be a huge help. If you want to toss a few bucks our way, joining as a channel member is the best way to support the channel. You get a bunch of pretty cool perks, like being able to vote on matchups, access to the book club, and we'll even commit vandalism in your honor.
Ooh, that's
so,
a good perk.
That is a great perk, right?
I should actually add that to mine.
Yeah, it's not. Disclaimer: it's not real vandalism. We draw their name on a piece of terrain. I mean, it might be a little real vandalism, just as a treat.
Get a master painted, commission a master painted terrain set from Siege Studios or something, then Sharpie on some vandalism for the patrons.
Yep, that's how it goes.
Huge.
All right. So, if you guys are unfamiliar with the Slam scale, it is basically 4 tiers or 4 categories that we're ranking every detachment on. The S is sex appeal. How flashy is the detachment? How much does it stand out from the rest of the detachments in the game? As far as like, does it have really cool mechanics or just like cool tricks that you can do? The second one is lore, which is just how well the detachment meshes with the lore of the faction without feeling forced. How fluffy does the detachment feel, basically? The other one is approachability. Basically, how approachable is it from a rules perspective, from a hobby perspective? How does it feel playing against that army? So if you need any like weird niche models, hard to paint models, if it's too smooth brain, if it's too big brain, that's the approachability. And then meta,
smooth brain in the guard.
That's why we wear helmets.
Well, my army's just 200 Cadian shock troopers. I don't know how much brain I need.
I mean, there's a detachment for that, so. And then the M is meta, which is, very obvious just how competitive the detachment is and kind of like the current meta game. I don't know if any of us are like hyper competitive players, so that's all of these are going to be subjective, but that one's definitely going to be pretty subjective.
Well, I've won 5 grand tournaments in my time, so I don't know about the rest of you guys.
5? Holy shit. Well, I've won 6, so...
Got me beat there.
Got him. So just as a preface, we're not going to be covering Bridgehead Strike. We covered that during the Grotmist Attachments videos. But if either of you guys have any thoughts on it, feel free to share them real quick.
That's my favorite one. I just love Kazarkin and Stormtroopers, and I think that one's the coolest.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I really, really like that one. and I don't think it's as strong meta wise as everyone thought. I mean, it was out of the gate, but then I think folks adapted to it in the meta, so that was what the issue I thought was going to be with it. But my problem is, I literally stripped all my scions last summer and haven't finished repainting them.
Oh,
so
no.
I can't play it.
Rip.
That's a low approachability score.
Yeah. Well, scions are actually like extremely expensive to get. It's like 60 for 5 of them, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
I think that's also
the price of the game. Yeah, that's
like
true.
even Kazarkin are cheaper.
Like something I didn't really, consider was cost. Like, how expensive is this army to build? You're gonna have to buy a lot.
Oh well, that's just
really
guard in
expensive
general,
shit.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I play GSC though, so I'm used to the pain.
Oh, okay.
So
we're
we're
all
not
broke here.
all broke. Yeah.
Everyone donate in the chat.
Yeah, please support our plastic crack addiction.
Yeah, I can stop anytime I want to.
I've done it a dozen times.
Yeah.
So we're not really going to go in any particular order, but I feel like it's probably best to just start with the index detachment, which was combined arms. So I guess I can go ahead and start this one off. So for the sex appeal, I give this one a 6. I think it's cool. It's familiar though, so it loses a little bit of the luster for me. It's kind of a take all comers, just general guard, like take a little bit of everything here and there. So it doesn't really do a whole lot for me in sex appeal. I think it's better than some of the other detachments in the game, which are like kind of boring. Looking at you, Space Marines. But I definitely think that it's a good one. What do you guys think on sex appeal?
Well, I'm a Cadian super fan, and I assume Steel is too based on his name. So this one does have like more sex appeal than I think usually people would give. I put 8.
You got 8.
Like I think it's just really cool that like it kind of does incentivize I don't know, I guess tactical how Cadians would fight. So I think that's kind of sexy. It's sexy to be cool. I mean, good at fighting, But I don't think it's the like sexiest one,
I have a pretty good inkling about what most of us are gonna think the sexiest one is.
I'm gonna be curious about that. Actually,
we'll see.
I may have had a difference of opinion on a few of these, but also I'm extremely biased, and I'm like,
hey, that's what.
Oh, you want me to rate? You want me to rate guard detachments? Like I'm gonna.
What do you think as far as sex appeal?
I give it a solid 7.
7?
And yeah, and I think the reason I do that is because it really is the all-comer, right?
Yeah.
It's well-rounded. It's going to be old reliable. If you don't know what to do, you're going to go with combined arms. I love the changes, by the way, that they've made with this. But
yeah, they changed a few of the stratagems and stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it really adds a lot to the adaptability and the appeal of it. I'm like, oh, look at that. My infantry officers doing something fun with my squadron vehicles.
Yeah.
Oh, no, my Cadian command squad can order my basilisks. Shucks.
I mean, believe it or not, this is the second highest sex appeal score that I give in all of these, so...
Oh, I might have overscored all mine then. I don't
no,
know
this is all subjective. It's all opinion. Chat. If you guys have hard opinions, feel free to like tell us in the chat because I'm curious what you guys think. I think I judge more harshly than everyone else, so don't stress about that.
Bring me back for the Eldar Codex, and then we'll see scores.
Hey, don't threaten me with a good time. So for lore, I gave this one also not a 63. Certainly not a 63. Just a 6. I do think that as far as lore goes, it suffers a little bit from being the generalist detachment because it doesn't really feed into a like specific unit type or anything, right? So it doesn't like feed any specific fantasy. You can kind of just take anything with it and it works. So I gave it a 6. I think it's like above average again, but not the best.
I actually differed quite a bit on this part.
Okay.
I gave it a really high score because I think
Okay.
like the fields of fire plus the coordinate action, I think that does play into the lore really well for Cadians at least, and the reinforcements is just very guard, I think. And then I thought that inspired command and flexible command also fit Cadians, just because like I feel like they of most of the regiments they are pretty like tactically minded.
Mhm.
Well, also I should say that like each of these attachments seem like clearly like this is the Cadian one, this is the Catachan one,
Yeah, for the
and
most
so like I
part,
was
yeah.
kind of doing the lore from that perspective, and in that regard, I do think it's pretty high. I gave it a 9. I
9.
might just be like too
No,
Cadian filled,
so lore
the brightest.
as far as guard goes, I will also say lore is probably like my weakest my weakest segment here. I'm not super familiar with like guard lore. I'm like familiar
Hmm.
with a lot of the big regiments and stuff. But not
Well, that's
really
all that
much more than
matters.
that.
Who
Yeah.
cares about the Mordians?
Or
Those
the
guys are
Kidding.
losers.
look, my
Yeah, those
my
guys
favorite
are stupid.
my favorite guard regiment is the Mobian 6th, so
There we go. I like the Woad Warriors where they're all naked. They're the coolest guys.
have you done a
That's a
video
real
on that?
regiment. They're called the Woad Warriors. They're like Mad Max dudes who are all like literally just naked. There's official
Is
art
that-
where he's like covering his dong with a las gun. It's the coolest thing ever.
That's
You're also
truly
into
incredible.
the Discord.
I
That's
cannot
amazing.
wait to see that video.
I can't wait for the Woad Warrior detachment.
Oh my god. I'm gonna write it if they don't. I'm gonna write it.
True.
Yeah,
Well,
there we go.
we've written detachments on this channel before, so we can write detachments if we want to.
Excellent.
What do you think, Steele?
Yeah, there you go, Jordan. I sent you it.
Yeah, I feel like I was a little harsh,
Okay.
but I gave it a 7.
7? I gave it a
And-
6. You're no
Okay.
more harsh than
Yeah.
I am.
What it reminds me of, so I have read a lot of guard books. I am really into
Mhm.
the lore part, and if there is a Cadian book out there, I've read it maybe twice, if not 3 times now. And this detachment makes me think about when crap hits the fan and the kind of coordination that has to start happening, not
Yeah.
even the first
Mhm.
contact. Like you're a week into the war, you're 2 weeks into the war, if not months. And I like that kind of how the command structure starts to break down and you don't silo as much. And so I think it's pretty
Mhm.
cool and fun that way.
Yeah.
And so I gave it a 7.
All right. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
too when you think about like a game of 40K when you're playing on the tabletop. If you zoom out of that game, there's like a dozen more Warhammer 40K games going on like in your immediate
Mhm.
vicinity. It's like a very small section of an actual like battle or war or whatever. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Now I'm thinking I'm being too nice. I should just minus
Be
1 or
mean!
2.
You have
off
to
of
be
every one of my
mean!
scores.
Now, everyone's just going to discover that I'm not actually the biggest Cadian fanboy, and it's secretly crack. It's not actually me.
Yeah, there we
There you
go.
go.
That was a ploy. I want to become the new
Yeah, we
Cadian
actually
sergeant.
planned that. So yeah, sorry about
I'm
that. in
Cadian
advance.
Lieutenant still.
I'm going to go ahead and mail you my signed copy of the Fall of Cadia.
There you
it's
go.
yours now. Yeah.
Ah.
I don't deserve this anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
beautiful.
not all your army. I know what you deserve, besides a painting award, but I know what you deserve.
Your
Well,
army's actually
thank you, I
super-
think.
When I saw your army, I like my jaw dropped. I was like, and I thought I had a good army.
It's interesting trying to like combine 4 different factions into one army.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous,
Yeah,
though.
it's fun. It's fun. Thank you.
No, it is a freaking cool army.
So
Right.
approachability. I gave this one a 9. I think that this is a very approachable army. I think all of the rules are relatively straightforward. You get lethal hits on your guns depending on what unit it is and what targets. That's pretty easy. All of the stratagems kind of just help you do that, but better. And as far as like list building and models and stuff go, you can't really go wrong list building for this detachment because it kind of has a little bit of everything for every kind of unit. So I gave it a 9 because I think it's a very approachable detachment.
Nice. I also gave it a 9. It seems simple enough. I can't remember if I said this after we started the stream, but like I am not a competitive player, and I haven't even played 10th that much. But like reading the rules, I was like, okay, this makes sense. Some of them are like, okay, that's obviously what it does. Like reinforcements, obviously you bring back something. Inspired command.
There's not a whole lot of like weird interactions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is good.
Nice.
I gave it a 6.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Ooh.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to explain myself.
Uh-huh.
I gave it a 6 because for newer players, you have to now memorize which units have regiment, which units have squadron, which do not, and then when those two of just the general detachment rule, when does it apply? And so I think it actually takes a little bit more. If you do a diverse combined arms, right, it takes a little more mental kind of, memorization and so forth, little pre-work to make sure you understand how you're planning it. Like, oh yeah, my Ogrins Bulgrins don't get this, and my aircraft don't, and so on and so forth, right? I think and maybe I'm thinking about that a little biased too, because with all the Forge World mostly getting axed, there's a lot less of that stuff out there now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah. I gave it a 6 because I feel like players already before these changes were struggling with that a little bit and remembering that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's actually a good point.
I actually didn't play. I never played Guard. I never played a game of Guard until the Grand Narrative.
Get off the stream. No, I'm joking.
that was my first time playing Guard. Was at the Grand Narrative. So just like kind of looking at
first time playing Guard in 10th
ever.
Ever you okay? Sorry. The only reason I'm like, what the heck? How beautiful that army was! Like it was a work of art.
Oh, thank
and
you.
you're like, yeah, it's the first time I've ever touched.
Well, it
it.
helps that like half of it was GSC, right? So, yeah. So I had never played Guard until the Grand Narrative, which was in November of last year. So I've only been playing Guard for a few months. I found like regiment squadron keywords pretty easy. The one that trips me up constantly is platoon. I can never remember which units have platoon. But regiment is like your dudes that are not abhumans, and squadron is like your vehicles except Baneblades, because fuck Baneblades apparently.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I remember it.
And then every time I told folks, oh yeah, by the way, my Sentinels just get lethals against everything, I felt like I was telling them I was cheating.
Sentinels are weird because they have both, yeah. Yeah, my Sentinels
No,
are
but think
lethal,
about like
don't worry
this.
about it.
They have the legs of a human, but the vehicle of a vehicle. Easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Nope. You know what? That logic works for me.
Yeah. You take the little cover off, you can even see the person.
There you go.
It's both.
Yeah. Well, the biggest reason I remember is because apparently Squadron only applies to vehicles like for the real word. Because when I was writing my homebrew lore, I kept on naming things like Monsoon Squadron or whatever, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't apply to infantry. I'm a moron. And so I felt silly.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that until I started
Yeah.
like trying to write my homebrew. I was
There you
like, okay, I don't want to be wrong for this homebrew that no one's ever gonna read except for me.
So is this like homebrew lore that you have for your army?
So yeah, so I have a custom regiment, and
Okay.
I like to write the homebrew lore for my like armies. So
Nice.
yeah, I wrote a little blurbs for them.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's
Are you
right.
gonna go to the Grand Narrative?
I really don't play like big 40k that much. I'm usually a kill team player.
They have
actually.
kill team at the Grand Narrative.
I think. Oh, it does. Oh,
Yep.
really?
Yeah. There's
Is
a whole
where is
separate
Grand
track.
Narrative?
It's in Atlanta.
Is that Atlanta? Okay. I might. I've been going to more cons now. Me and like some other YouTubers have been like banding together to go across the country.
Nice. Yeah,
That's
definitely. I highly recommend the Grand Narrative. I've done it 2 years now. It's
I might have to do that then.
the best 40k experience I've ever had in my life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fully. So
I'll have to look into that.
definitely
Then.
recommend it. Plus, I can show you around all the cool spots because I live in Atlanta. So.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So before we get off on too much of a tangent,
Yeah.
meta. I gave this one a pretty solid 8. I think this has the potential to be the best detachment in the book. I think. There's one or two other ones that I think might give it a run for its money. But I definitely think this is very good because, giving all of your shit lethal hits is just good. Lethal hits is just a great thing to help you punch up. And it's just like generally very good because it has tools for your entire toolkit available to you. So yeah, give it an 8.
Yeah, for this one, I didn't even write a number because I'm so bad at the meta. I just
10.
wrote
Got
seems
it.
quite good because reinforcement sounds good. Like you can't use it on. Well, you can use it on Sentinels, right? Unless
Yeah.
I'm reading that wrong.
No,
No,
So
no,
that
no,
was.
no,
Oh, you can't not anymore.
not anymore.
Okay, well.
No,
Oh, yeah,
that's-
because it's an
that's the-
infantry. My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't
Yeah.
used to have infantry. Right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Wasn't-
that's
didn't
what
that-
it was.
wasn't that
I
from the
thought it
balanced
used to
data
say,
slate?
yeah, something like that. I remember. Yeah, I remember that was really good at first, and then like they kind of got rid of that.
And you can only do it once.
I feel
now.
like even bringing back an infantry thing could be good because that applies to our Kazarkan regiment.
Yeah.
You just like hella load them up, and then lethal hits, like you said, is good. And I thought giving more orders is pretty nice, but I really don't know how to play. I just play like this sounds cool.
I will say, like in the book now, orders are like you're not really at a shortage of orders anymore because they kind of bumped up just the number across the board. But you can never go wrong with having more.
But I don't know if I might have just read this wrong, but coordinated action like lets you give your vehicles orders without having the like tank commander, right?
I think so, yeah.
So that's pretty net. Yeah, I think that sounds pretty net. I don't know if that's actually like as good as I think it is, but
yeah. So coordinated action is the one where like if you issue like take aim to a regiment unit, then the squadron unit also gets that order.
Okay,
yeah.
My like small P brain, I was like, that sounds good.
Yeah.
That is real
like,
good.
In order. Yeah, it's
so yeah. I gave it a 8 as well.
If
I'm gonna have to give a number.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna also give it an 8.
Okay. All right.
We finally have our first universal agreement.
I guessed correctly.
Yeah. And the reason I give it an 8, and here's the only thing that makes me scared for the other detachments actually, is lethals universally is just so good. It's so good, especially with strength 3 weapons and no AP. I have done more wounds to Space Marines because of lethals than I have with artillery. Like, I really have. I mean my lasgun...
to be fair, in 10th edition, that's not saying that much. Artillery has gotten nerfed into the ground more times than I can count. So.
Listen, you're gonna find out real soon what my favorite detachment is, though.
It's the one that we're all giving a 10 for sex appeal. All right.
Oh, whoa! Spoilers!
Spoilers! My bad. So yeah, coming out pretty strong out the gate with a 7.6 for combined arms. After it's all said and done.
Nice.
That's pretty good. So you know what? We're all talking about it. Let's just move on to Siege Regiment.
Sorry.
Why don't you take the lead on this one? How do you feel about sex appeal for Siege Regiment here?
If I didn't pay for this shirt, I'd rip it off. It's a 10.
There you go. Hell yeah. I gave it a 9. I think this is the sexiest detachment in the book. I don't think it's the sexiest detachment in the game.
No.
So I gave it a 9. I don't think it's quite a 10, but it's real close.
No, I gave it a 10 as well. I think this one's really fucking cool.
All right, my bad, guys.
Like Krieg aren't my favorite guys, but like I can't deny this one's the coolest one.
Okay, fine. I'll give it a 10.
Yeah, fix it.
My bad.
This is just super cool. It's like cool and fluffy, I feel.
Yeah, incredibly. Which is why I gave it a 9 on lore. It's the Krieg detachment. It does the like trench warfare thing incredibly well. I was worried that an artillery detachment was going to be either really bad, really good, and just like lack a bunch of flavor. But I think if you're going to do an artillery detachment in the game, this is how you do it. They fucking nailed it. So 9 on lore there.
I actually gave it a 10 on lore. I think that things like Callous Sacrifice and Over the Top, I think those are so fluffy and cool. And like the way it's written makes it seem like it incentivizes you just to put like as many infantry squads as you want, and then like just screen for your artillery, which is like super fluffy for a siege regiment.
Yep.
And I think that's really badass. Is over the wait, which one? Oh yeah, over the top. That one's just so cool where you just like have all your guys move up. It's like, all right,
Over the top
Kriegers,
is great.
let's
Callous Sacrifice might be like one of my favorite stratagems in the game.
yeah, that one's
Just
so
like
funny.
kill your own dudes for the sake of like shooting
Yeah.
something.
It's like, I know you're getting chain axed right now, but can you shoot this thing over here real quick?
I give it a 9 on lore as well. Yeah. I just the thing they nailed was they did it. They constructed this idea of like artillery off the map that you can't see.
Yep.
That's playing a role in the battle, and that was so realistic.
Yeah.
And I loved that idea, that some officer out there on the front line about to do the charge is like calling in the incendiary rounds or the flares. And I love that. It's so good. And I completely agree with you all. The Callous Sacrifice, it is the only thing I have missed from 7th edition and earlier.
Yeah.
It is I miss being able to kill my own units, and they brought it back. And I'm so happy inside. And now all they have to do is give me a legend sheet for conscripts so I can blow them up with my own artillery.
Oh, I want conscripts so bad.
I've heard a lot of people
be the happiest.
Give me back my conscripts.
Yeah.
I'm mad they took away those in veterans. I thought veterans were really fun too.
I mean, even the basic infantry squad's gone now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get load conscripts. They'll be really cheap.
There you go. Yeah. So as far as approachability, I think I might have a little bit of a hot take on this one. I gave it a 6. I think lore, I mean, not lore, rules. I think rules, pretty accessible. There's not like too much to it. It's like a little bit of finesse about like knowing when to do certain things. Because if you do it wrong, you will just die. But I think from a modeling perspective, it's not incredibly approachable. A lot of that is by virtue of all of the new Krieg stuff that you want to run with this is locked to a FOMO box right now.
Okay, yeah.
Unless you already have like a pretty big Krieg collection, it's going to be tough. And even, the Krieg Marshal doesn't exist anymore. So if you had one of those, sucks to suck, I guess.
Well, you have to have the named Marshal now.
The guy on the horse, Dreer?
Yeah, Dreyer or whatever.
Yeah. It's really weird that they named him after a home appliance, but what do I know?
Yeah, where's the Cadian Castellan washer?
And to be honest, I don't know if Krieg are like super easy to paint. They have like a lot of little detail on them that I think makes them hard for.
I actually thought they were. Sorry, I didn't want to.
No, you're good.
Talk you. I thought Krieg were actually pretty easy to paint. I think they're actually easier to paint than the new Cadians. I think the new Cadians are honestly a nightmare to paint.
I did just paint a bunch of the new Cadians. I still think that I would prefer to paint Cadians over Krieg. But I could definitely see that just like being a matter of a
big plus is no faces. I know that people hate painting faces.
No faces is a big one, and I get into that in one of the later detachments.
Yeah, but I mean, faces honestly aren't too hard if you just put like Cadian flesh tone and then Gilliman wash or Gilliman flesh tone, whatever it's called.
How do you feel? How do you feel about the approachability?
This one I put 7. I think the rules on like when you first look at them, they look a bit convoluted, but like once you read them a few times, it's like, okay, that's what it does. That's not too bad. I do think it's a bit cost prohibitive because the Krieg infantry squad is a kill team kit.
Yep.
And they added those stupid tokens with the like price increase.
Yeah.
And so like to buy a bunch of Krieg squads. Yeah, I'm not sure the price difference, but I think they are more expensive than Cadians. Plus, like you said, the FOMO box. But yeah, I think the rules were pretty straightforward. But some of them just look like a big wall of text, which I could see being unapproachable at first. Like Callous Sacrifice, that one's super cool. But when I first saw it, I'm like, what the hell? What does it say?
Yeah,
13,
I might just be stupid
13
though.
more dollars than Cadians for a box.
13 more dollars is actually insane for guardsmen.
Yep.
I just go on eBay though and I buy like
it's 52 for a box of Cadians and 65 for
Cadians. Yeah, no, I hate that they added those tokens to Kill Team because even in Kill Team the tokens are useless.
And I don't play Kill Team, so
uses the
it's all useless for me.
Yeah, no, literally, because it's like, who uses these fucking tokens? I hate them.
Matt uses the tokens because Matt loves doodads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Matt, I never met Matt then.
Nope.
First person I've ever seen use tokens. Other than the tokens that come in the essentials are really nice.
We
but
call him the doodaddy.
the team specific one is ridiculous. Oh, I like Daddy. That's funny.
Yeah, he's the doodaddy.
Wonderful.
Mr. Steele, how are you feeling about it?
All right. I gave it an 8.
8? Okay.
I give it an 8. I think the rules, after you read them 2 or 3 times, it's pretty straightforward, right? The actual detachment rule itself, it's like, oh, so I'd use this during battle round 1. I'd use this during battle round 2. And if I'm ever uncertain, I'm always going to smoke screen. So I like that. It's very kind of very obvious. And I think the stratagems work really well and are pretty straightforward too. I think about this differently, though, because I don't think this regiment even leans Krieg necessarily. So I'm thinking like, oh, my 20 Cadians plus 20 Krieg plus 20 Cadian. And I think those infantry units still work within a detachment like this. You just have to kind of think about that a little differently. And and that's actually
Cadians
how I run. Yeah.
I think so.
Yep. So all the heavy weapons teams, all the regular infantry squads, and I got to go back and read the codex to remember the other stuff, but I know all of them do. So, and then, so I think it's all right. But the other thing that I do take for granted is I have a lot of artillery already painted. So,
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's another thing. I have like no artillery almost. For some reason, I just can never find basilisks.
Yeah,
I had to get the Horus Heresy one. I got the Horus Heresy
basilisk. That one looks pretty cool. Yeah, that one has like the rust body though, right? That one's kind of goofy looking.
In a cool way. I definitely like the 40k one more. But the Horus Heresy one has like a certain charm to it for sure.
Yeah. Because I think the Basilisk is like online only. That's another thing that I think hurts approachability is like if you're a new player walking to the hobby shop and you're like, I want this, you're never going to see the Basilisk. You probably won't even know Manticore exists. Like I've never seen either of those in the shop. I've only seen Russ's, Bane Blades, and like the infantry squads, which that's kind of like on GW. Like that's just their fault. But
I mean, that factors in though.
Yeah.
I do think the new artillery team, which is probably going to be the hot thing people want to throw into this detachment to really try it out.
That looks good.
Once it releases on its own, so you can buy it out of this FOMO box, it's a really, really flexible modeling kit. So you can swap out all the weapons, no magnets needed.
Yeah,
and I think that's really
cool. I like that.
Yeah,
that's
so
how
you're only going to have to buy 3.
Was right.
The field guns, I think 2 of them were like easily swappable, but then the bombasts was like totally different.
Oh yeah, that one's weird looking. Yeah,
something like that.
Then the Malleus rocket launcher actually has a different front plate, so you have to like there's magnetize that.
I guess that makes sense though. It's like not a long gun looking thing.
Yeah. As far as meta goes, I give this one a 5. I put it firmly in the middle of the road. I think it's playable. I don't think it will be winning you any tournaments. But I think it is completely viable. I think it's very average.
I gave it a 6 just because I think this one definitely does favor fluff over like competitiveness.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I don't really play that much competitively, so but it did seem that way to me.
We are about to be in way more agreement on this than I was anticipating.
Okay.
I also gave it a 6.
Okay. All right.
I love this detachment with all my heart, with every shell I have to fire.
I love that.
I think it's gorgeous, right? The sex appeal is definitely a 10.
Yep.
But I'm just going to be having fun with it, and I don't even know if I'm going to win an RTT with this, let alone like a big tournament. Yeah.
And I think like a big problem with it that I have is like the artillery support rule. As cool as it is, once your enemy is in melee range with you, all you have left is the cover one, or the stealth one, which is like, if it's a melee army, they don't give a shit. So
they should just let me shoot my own guardsmen with my own artillery support.
Yeah.
That would be fluffy, and that would probably make it a little bit better.
Agree.
Okay, I'm going to throw something out there, though.
Okay.
3 Rogel Dorns moving forward every turn with Meltas, Gatling cannons, and oppressor cannons with stealth on them every turn.
Yeah.
The
that
thing
would be
is,
pretty
though, that
badass.
like if you need to pop stealth on a Rogel Dorn, you just pop smoke, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to use a CP for it, I guess, but like the option is always there. So I feel like it doesn't really add all that much. It's really for like your infantry and stuff that doesn't have access to smoke, I think. But Siege Regiment coming out with an even stronger 8.0, solid 8 there.
Yeah, I do think this one's the coolest detachment. Not gonna lie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do we want to do next? Let's talk about Hammer of the Emperor. I have some
And
thoughts
this
on
is the second coolest detachment, I think.
All right, I'm probably gonna get some flack for this. I gave this a 3 on sex appeal.
Really?
Yeah, low.
I thought this one's super
Low
cool.
sex appeal. I'll explain my problem with it. Love tanks. I'm a big treadhead. Most of my models that I have for guard are tanks. I feel like this detachment does not do them justice at all. A detachment rule
Really?
that is you get to move like a flat 6-inch advance. Okay, that's my entire detachment rule. Fine, I guess. And also you look at like the stratagems and stuff. If you take the word squadron out of those and replace it with regiment, they would all like function exactly the same. None of it feels specifically tailored towards tanks. So I think that they just like didn't do the tanks justice at all with this detachment as much as I wanted to love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
This one I
I'm
gave it a
prepared.
9.
I'm
I thought it
prepared
was really
to.
cool.
I'm prepared to like get fucked in the comments for this one. But...
This one I just think is like super freaking cool. And I'm not even the biggest tank fan. I just think like some of the rules are super cool. Like final hour, it's like, okay, yeah, we're fucked, but let's go a bit harder, fellas. And then like crash.
Yeah,
through
but
them,
like the
okay,
Lehman
that's
Russ
cool.
tank commanders already have a cooler version of that rule.
That's true, yeah. But like
Yeah.
declaring this is the final hour though, that's pretty cool.
It's cool. But the name of the stratagem is great. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair though, like I'm so like illiterate with the rules that I kind of am factoring in like even just the names into the like score for
No,
the
that's totally valid.
stuff.
That's totally valid.
I'm such a peanut brain.
I mean, you do a lot of lore tubing, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
if I had to rank my like hobby aptitudes, I would put hobbying, then lore, and then competitive like way below both of those.
There you go. I mean, hey, everybody's got their own thing that they're in the hobby for, so
Yeah.
it's all subjective. How you feeling for sex appeal?
I gave it an 8.
8. All right, I'm alone
I
on
gave
this
it an
one.
8.
I got it. No,
Yeah.
I get it.
And I'm not going to explain that 8. I'll talk about it later when we go through the rest of it. But
Okay.
like, it makes me want to lick a tread.
Okay.
This is sexy, man.
All right.
Mhm.
I gave it a 4 on lore there. I again like it doesn't feel particularly tailored towards tanks at all. The only thing that makes it a tank detachment is the fact that every rule says the word squadron in it. So yeah, I gave it a 4 on lore.
This one I also put pretty high. I gave it a 7.
Okay.
I don't know like that many tank lore other than just like that they're tanks, but like it seems pretty cool to me.
What this is supposed to be Talarn? Is that what like this is supposed to be?
So I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
So that's why I gave it an 8 for lore.
All right.
Because that's all
There we go.
That's what I was when I read the army rule and I was like, oh, I get a definite 6-inch advance. That's Talarn. Now the disappointing thing, and we'll talk about that in the meta part of it, is that it doesn't mesh well necessarily. But I think this is a little bit of a sleeper on some of the meta stuff. And that's what I was thinking. I got a few Talarn tanks that I've got painted up, and I was loving the idea of being able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Approachability. I put this one firmly in the middle at a 5. From a rules perspective, I think that a beginner is going to look at this attachment and be like, fuck yeah, tanks. And then they're going to roll up to the table and then realize that this takes way more finesse than they're ready for. And I also think from a hobby perspective, tanks, Lehman Russes specifically are like kind of an airbrush check model. Rogel Dorns are almost to that point, but they actually have more detail to the point where it's actually really fucking annoying to paint them. So I kind of just put this one like right in the middle as far as approachability goes, because I don't think it's like specifically great on the hobby or rules side if you're kind of coming in from as a beginner.
Okay. I gave it an 8. I think that so personally I hate painting tanks.
Okay.
Even though like they are cool, but I do think tanks are easier to paint than like a squad of infantry, because you could usually get away with just base coating it, metallicing the treads, metallicing the like gun, and then doing a big wash if you really want to. I usually don't do that, but like I know a lot of people who do that, and they get like a ton of points done like really fast. And also, I think the rules are pretty easy to understand. Like, okay, these only apply to my vehicle pretty much. This one makes me move. This one makes me do this. It doesn't seem too complicated to me, so I thought it's pretty approachable.
I guess like I wouldn't say that they're necessarily complicated, but they're definitely deceptively finessey, for lack of a better
like to
term.
make it work, I guess.
Yeah.
How
All
do you
right,
feel?
I gave it an 8.
All right, I guess I'm alone on this one. I got it.
That's all right. No, I feel like your numbers are justified. I warned you up front. You asked me to rate guard detachments. I'm here.
I understand.
Yeah.
Like,
I knew what I was getting
like,
into.
yeah. You're asking me to rate the thing I love the most, and the reason I give this an 8 is because from a model collecting perspective, it is a little bit expensive, but it's Warhammer. Painting vehicles can be simple, depending on your techniques and how you approach it, right? Especially doing things like sponging and stippling and just heavy, like maybe even oil washes, which can be, once you try it out, you figure out how it works, and that can be a simple way to do it. Great way to get big models painted up and looking beautiful. So I think model-wise, it's an okay army to collect. And the other thing is too, with vehicles, it's a bit of a it's a two-sided blade here. Okay. One, it's going to be more forgiving when you make mistakes. Okay. So for a newer player, it's like, okay, yeah, I made a mistake. I got within charge range. I'm losing -1 to my hit, but they probably didn't kill my tank. So I'm still going to shoot it next turn. And so there's that kind of like forgivability with it, but you don't have the objective control like you would in a combined arms regiment. So if you do go pure vehicles, or you go extremely limited infantry and your opponent is clever or just smart in general, and they just shoot your infantry off the table turn 1, you're going to have a tough time holding down objectives unless you're very good at killing. So it's got a little bit of that, but I think for a newer player, it's pretty approachable. For the opponent, they're probably going to be miserable.
They are not going to be having a fun time.
No. I know on average, most people don't like to play pure vehicle lists, let alone like 80% vehicles or something like that. That's a hard time.
Yeah. And to answer Elliot's question in the chat, yes, this is the detachment that I played on our stream on Monday. So I can, I guess, kind of speak to it a little bit from a meta perspective. I give it a 7. I think that it is. I think it's good. I think it runs into problems with fast melee armies or just armies that can tag you turn 1. Because now all of a sudden you have a huge traffic jam on your hands, and what are you gonna do? You can't go anywhere. Our entire army's vehicles, so they're all just stuck behind each other. I think that barring that though, being able to get on objectives quickly, even if you're not necessarily able to hold them with just like one vehicle, get a Rogue Dorn on an objective and nobody's going to want to like go near it, or they're going to have to, put a lot of effort into getting that Rogue Dorn off that objective. So I think as long as you're running 6 Rogel Dorns, you're good.
6.
Easy peasy.
Easy.
No, I do think this is probably one of the stronger detachments in the game. I don't think it's quite as good as Combined Arms, or Recon Element, which we'll get into later. But I think it's pretty strong.
This one I don't even know where to put because when I play, like the very few times I do play, I usually do very infantry heavy, just because that's like what I like to paint and that's what I vibe with the guard. But things like ablative plating seem pretty nice. And then like moving a bit faster is pretty nice, I think. But
Yeah.
I don't even know what number, so I'll just like average whatever you guys say.
All right, what do you got?
To be honest, I could just like guess a number, but
well, all right, here we go.
Okay.
Jordan, I think you were too nice.
You think I'm too nice? Okay.
Yeah, you're being way too nice. This is a 6 at best.
Okay.
So I gave it a 6. Because I love guard, so I gave it a 6. But I think the issue is going to be like OC. I mean, if you can't hold objectives,
totally. Yeah.
you don't win games. You can't do it. So you have to know how to keep your opponent away from the objectives and how to kill them well with just vehicles. I know there's a stratagem for moving through buildings, but you're still going to have a tough time maneuvering around the table and getting to the places you need to be in. You're going to be relying on lanes of fire while your opponent is sneaking around stuff. So I think that despite the power this has, it just doesn't have the ability to stick stuff and really hold it down.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. All right, you got to choose between a 7 and a 6.
I'll say a 6 then. I'll just copy Steel. He seems to know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Cool. So that puts us at a 6.6. It's the lowest so far, but that's still a pretty good score.
Thanks to somebody.
Still above average. Look, I'm changing all of mine to 1s right now. They're all 1s. This detachment sucks. Don't play it.
It's the worst. Only a traitor would play this detachment.
Get rid of the tanks and guard.
Fire dragons will take a Dorn off an objective, especially with the new Fugan. You are correct. You are absolutely correct.
Guys, I'm ashamed to say I don't have a single Dorn.
Not even one? I just got my second one recently.
But I am like kind of a super Lehman Russ fanboy. I really like the aesthetic of them.
Oh.
I love Lehman Russes. I ran an Exterminator for the first time on Monday. That was fun.
Oh, nice.
I like that thing. All right. So next, let's talk about Recon Element. We talked about that one just a touch. So let's get into Recon Element because this is one that I think is going to be kind of like divisive, as far as like from a competitive and approachability standpoint. From a sex appeal standpoint, I give it a 6. I don't think it's super flashy. I spoilers, I rate it higher in lore because I think that like as far as fluff goes, this is really cool. But sex appeal, the rules aren't like super flashy. Nothing's like jumping off the page at me. But it does have some like kind of new, interesting ways to play the game. So solidly above average, but just at a 6.
Yeah, I had a similar train of thought. I think I also put 6. I think that at least for me personally, the idea of like guard who sneak around and stuff and like lay traps, that's not really an inherently sexy idea compared to like, here's a million tanks.
Yeah.
Here's a million artillery barrages. Here's just a million guys. I don't think like sneaking around the jungles is necessarily that interesting and sexy. Obviously when you take lore into account, like Cadian, I think have some of the coolest lore. That obviously adds to it, but like just by itself, I don't think the Recon detachment is that cool. Like if I gave the 5 detachments to a beginner, I don't think anyone would ever pick the Recon detachment.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it too. What's your number? What do you give it?
Oh, 6. Sorry,
6.
I don't know if you heard me. Yep.
Yeah. I give it a 7.
7. All right. A little bit more forgiving.
First book I ever read was The First and Only. And so I have a soft spot in my heart for like, I know this is supposed to be Cadian
sneaking around.
Plays really well in the Gaunt's Ghost. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really love that. And if you haven't read First and Only, you're wrong. It truly
love
like
Tanith.
such an amazing introduction to Warhammer. because I don't think you even see a Space Marine, Chaos or Loyalist until like 2/3 of the way through the book, and then it's like the most terrifying thing you've ever read. But anyway, so it reminded me a lot of that. So, yeah, so I was just like, oh, I kind of like this is sexy. I'd do things that would question my sexuality.
Plus, they all have washboard abs if we're taking Catachan. Even more so than the other guardsmen. They're the only one with the shirtless guard model. I'm just saying that.
As far as lore, I give this one an 8. I like the movie Predator, simple as.
Nice. I give it a 9.
9, okay.
I think the stratagems are all really fluffy, like just putting down so many traps. Like obviously the recon, the deep or is it called deep strike still? Whatever it is where you like take off your guy and deploy.
Yeah.
That's basically what Sly Marbo does, and I think
we call it uppy downy these days.
Yeah, and then even in lore they're like, oh, Catachan, like they seem to disappear and then they reappear. Yeah, and, like that's literally what's happening when on tabletop, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But
Tanglefoot Grenades is back.
Are fun and cool.
Yeah.
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 I gave it an 8.
8?
And I even want to mention one other thing it plays real well into, and that is the using mounted like units, right? So
true. Yeah.
Having cavalry in there. So you really have several regiments in the lore that this works really well for. And so I think it's lore-wise, it's very strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention, but I think Courageous Diversion is actually my favorite thing, just from like the lore blurb where it's like these little soldiers are running, scream blood-curdling battle cries, as if like a ton of humans are gonna like make a Space Marine shit itself just because like they're screaming funny. I think that's just the funniest thing ever.
Hey, if nothing else, they think they're going to, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. Because like realistically, like guardsmen are the least scary things in 40k. Like that's not even a slight against them, but like...
no, but like out of all the like, if you think about every unit that exists in the game, they're just like dudes compared to everything else in the game that will just look at them weird and they die.
So it's just so funny that like the lore blurb is they scream a blood-curdling battle cry,
blood-curdling to
their squad mates and causing the enemy to waver.
Yeah.
Just imagine that to like a Necron. Like, holy shit, that guy has abs.
He has a perfect 6-pack. No! My
I remember
God!
when I had a 6-pack. Oh, the days to have a sword.
Oh my God! I want somebody to make a meme now of a Death Guard, like like scare pooping out a Nurgling after like shirtless screaming at him.
Just a screeching Catachan with washboard abs. Incredible. He's got to be like half the size of the fucking Space Marine. He's making him shit his pants.
Yeah.
That's so good. All right. Moving on. So from approachability, I'm giving this one a 6. I think that this is probably the most finesse-y army in the book. And if we're talking about like painting faces and painting skin, if you're painting Catachan, you're not gonna have a good time if you don't like doing that. And this army definitely wants you to run a shit ton of infantry. You'll probably be taking some like scouting infantry, so you'll throw in some transports here and there. But just painting mostly infantry to run this detachment, I think, is going to put a lot of beginners off.
Yeah, I actually went a little bit lower than that even. I put 5. I think that like laying traps and stuff is a little bit less intuitive than just like blowing something off the board. You know, like if you're a beginner, like you aren't really thinking and like, okay, I'm going to lay this trap, I'm just going to kill this guy. And I feel like that's an easy trap to fall into. And then also from a hobby perspective, I think I personally do like the Catachan kit. I know everyone hates it, but you can't deny that it's like a really annoying kit to put together. It has a stupid like old way they did it with the las guns where you have to like chop off the handle.
Yeah.
The hands don't really fit real well. If you really want them to look good, you have to like fix the arm like attachment points to like smooth it out. Otherwise, you have like this gap in like your bicep. It's like, okay, yuck.
Wait,
Like
do you
you
not have
have to
that?
put in work to make the models look like as good as other models would be just like out of the box. So I think that's pretty unapproachable. Also, like they are hard to come by if you want to make it super fluffy and do Catachan. Even more so if you want to do Tanith, where you'll have to like either kit bash capes or buy secondhand capes. So like just the fact that like Krieg and Cadia obviously have their like range out, but Catachan really don't have that much. I think that also lowers it. But yeah, I'd like to hear what you guys think.
I gave it a 4.
4, even lower.
I
was
We're
super
counting
giving
down.
this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Several reasons. One, the detachment rule. So players are going to be overconfident with their infantry, and there's so much now in the game that can ignore cover. And as soon as cover's ignored, you lose your detachment bonus, basically.
Yep.
So players are going to have to be asking the right questions of their opponents and understanding when that can come up and the situations with that. So they got to be careful. And then as well, the models, I mean, for the love of God, everything in this detachment plays off of an infantry model, one way or another, except for the mounted stuff, which is an infantry model on a horse. So its painting's going to be hell. And affording it, buying it, building it, it's just tough. And then I think I'm an infantry guy. Like I love, second to artillery, playing infantry is my next favorite way to play guard. But I actually think it's one of the more challenging ways to play guard because you have to be efficient to be kind to your opponent in time. Unless you're playing casually, which I'm a huge fan of, you know, and you're going to sit around and play for 6 to 8 hours. Fine. But to play efficiently with that much infantry and to know what to do with them, because playing your infantry wrong, you'll get rolled. So you really, I think it's playing with this type of an army build, this theme is a little more challenging up front. It takes more time to kind of get used to it and figure out the ins and outs of it. So I gave it a 4.
Hell yeah, that makes sense to me. Since you're kind of already halfway there, you want to talk us through your meta score?
I gave it a 5.
5, okay.
I gave it a 5. I don't think this is going to be winning grand tournaments necessarily. It could. It's got a. That's why it's a 5, not a 4. It's got a chance. But I do feel that once again, playing infantry is tough, and you really got to understand how to use those models. And for like instance, you got to know when to take your blob of 20 regular Cadians or Krieg or whatever it is, and when you need to charge them into a vehicle just to wrap it up in combat, right? For the sake of it. And you got to know how to do those things, because otherwise most players intuitively, they're going to go, well, I don't want to do that. And then my infantry can't shoot. And that's all they're good at doing. And it's like, no, sometimes your units have to play a different role. And I think that's harder to figure out with an infantry army, truly, which is why I have mad respect for like Morty and Glory and folks like that who play infantry heavy armies. There's a lot to it to figure out. So it's a 5.
All right. I went at it from a different perspective. I have an 8 here. I gave it an 8. So I think Recon element is up there with combined arms.
Wow.
It's like very finessey. Like you're saying, you have to know like what you're doing really well. The detachment rule to some extent may as well not exist, but most of the stratagems are bangers. Crack shots, giving an entire platoon unit precision is just a delete this character button. That's huge. It's got like a pretty massive toolkit. And you probably aren't gonna win just like by pure strength, but is in the hands of the right pilot, you're gonna be able to out OC your opponent at every corner. You're gonna be able to do every secondary that you want. So I think in the act of playing the game Warhammer 40,000, this is one of the best attachments in the book for it.
Yeah, I went kind of in between. I gave it a 6. I also thought that crack shot sounded nice, having precision on any of your platoon units. Also, I might be overestimating it, but I think putting things into strategic reserves and like redeploying them is pretty nice.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, I remember for a while, like Lord Solar was like basically an auto take because of that and his orders. And but I do think it's going to be a harder thing to play where you have to like figure out, okay, here's the traps. You're probably going to be working with less tanks, and that's a bit less intuitive. Like Steele said, it is harder to run in a full infantry because like I usually do full infantry. I'm not saying that's Sam good, but like I'm saying that to say I struggle. And I'm basically just gonna like rehash what you guys say if I talk more. So
that's okay. I like to hear the things I said repeated back to me. Don't worry about it.
There we go.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like the difference of opinion. I on the subject of Lord Solar, I will say I'm very glad that he's not an auto take anymore.
Oh yeah, me too.
I was dreading that so much.
Yeah, I'm
it's really all they had to do.
Yeah,
all they had to do was add the orders to the other officers.
Orders.
And suddenly everyone was like, yeah.
He's still good.
Yeah.
Still a good unit.
Yeah.
Not an auto take anymore.
Yep. No, I'm the type of person who like doesn't like the idea of having named characters in armies usually, just because like I do homebrew almost every single one of my armies. So like, I know I could obviously just proxy a Lord Solar, but it's still kind of annoying. Like this guy's named Lord Solar.
Yeah. There's a Necromunda model that I'm eyeing to run as my Lord Solar.
Oh, nice. I'm planning to do a Dino Rider Lord Solar to fit with my homebrew. I'm trying to figure out like which dinosaur I want to use because I have dinosaur Rough Riders, and they use the old Saurus Knight models, and those ones look a bit goofy, but I like them. So I don't know if I want to use that for the Lord Solar, if I want to use the new one, or there's even that Dark Eldar Cold.
Use this one.
Yeah,
I have that model, but it's so big. I'm like, I can't actually use that. That one's been sitting on my desk unpainted for like years, just because I didn't know what to do with it. Because I was like, that's a kick-ass model. I need that, so I bought it, and then I'm like, what am I gonna do with this?
Damn, here's my new Lord Solar. I just found him. Here we go.
Oh, there you go.
That one's cool. It's like a General Grievous little motorcycle thing.
I never considered this until just now. This might be my new Lord Solar.
Huge.
I ran Ursula Creed on Monday's stream, but obviously like Ursula Creed's not gonna run with some Gene Stealers, so I had to kind of kit bash her to make her my own. So I usually don't have an issue personally, just like running a named character's data sheet, but it's obviously not that named character. Just call her something else.
I don't think I have an actual like named character in the new codex because all my named characters got killed.
Oh no!
I have Creed, I have Yarick, Kel. They're all gone. Well, Creed's not technically dead, but for all intents and purposes, he is.
Yeah.
And pour one out for Knight Commander Pask, who's been gone.
Oh yeah, they got rid of Pask too. That's the last named character I have. I don't think I have a single alive named character then.
Damn.
Yep.
Well, he might actually be alive. They never said what happened to him, but
yeah, they left it really vague. They're like, well, he might have been on KDO when it fell.
No.
I'm like, either he was or he wasn't. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's two options.
They just want you to use your imagination.
Okay, give it time though. Give it time. I'm still here holding out for a Yarick resurrection story arc.
Yarick's not dead.
Oh
yeah, I just want them to say, "Oh yeah, the Administratum flubbed. Whoops."
What did they say he just like died of old age, or did they ever?
They didn't say what he died
of.
They said like the bell of whatever told for him.
Damn. Yeah.
It was literally one page, and it was like, what?
Part of me really wants the like, Angron killed him, and now Gaz is gonna go kill Angron because of it thing to be true.
That would be kind of funny, except like realistically, Gaz would just get like absolutely curb stomped.
Unless he's pissed off enough. I think if Gaz is mad enough, he can go toe to toe with Angron.
I think that would be the greatest thing they ever listened to the fans about. Like if they
totally
into the game, it'd be the greatest. I would read that book over and over again, and then it has to end with Gazgul's like like he has tears, right? He's got all these built up emotions, and his emotions resurrect Yarick, and he comes back, and then he's ready to get again.
We did it! We got there.
We did it.
Yeah.
We just wrote the Yarick
We wrote
Resurrection
the newest
arc.
Warhammer.
You're
book.
welcome, GW. Aren't they taking
Yep.
submissions for Black Library? We got to submit this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
and then
go.
Yark comes, and then Yark's basically an Astra Militarum saint, and he shows up in golden radiant light with his claw hand, and just,
Hell yeah.
And then Yarg has
His
two
golden
claw
claw
hands,
hands.
because that's even more extreme.
Yeah!
We did
It
it.
was full crab.
His eyeball his eye can actually shoot laser beams now.
Well, it could actually shoot laser beams before, because the orcs like he fitted like with a laser shooter
because of the orcs. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, well, I got to play into the legend," so he like put a laser in my eye.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that bit. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no, Yarik's a mad lad.
The real Yarick was the friends we made along the way. Truer
Freaking
words
real.
have never been
Yeah.
spoken. All right, we got a 6.5 here. That's our lowest score so far. But
Sorry.
it's still a good detachment.
Suck it,
6.5.
Catachan. That's why you don't have new models.
Yeah, fuck Catachan.
Because of what we said here today.
Yeah. GW watched our stream from the past in the future. And decided,
Yeah.
fuck Catachan, we're doing Krieg.
Yup.
Oh god.
All right, we got one last detachment. We have the Mechanized Assault. So sex appeal. I'm gonna be pretty low on this one too. It's a 4.
Really?
It's kind of just a bog standard transport focused detachment. The rules
That's
aren't
cool.
the rules aren't like that sexy to me. You get +1 to wound jumping out of a car. I guess that's cool.
That is cool. Have you ever tried jumping out of a car? It's really hard, especially if you're shooting things.
Yeah, but the car has to stop first.
Did you see? It was like Call of Duty Cold War. There was an intro where you're in a car. It does like an Akira slide. You walk out of the car and then you start shooting in the COD intro. That's what's happening here.
Oh fuck!
And
you
that was
sold
really
me.
cool.
That's
Oh.
a 10. You sold me. I'm in. I'm
Oh
in.
my god.
They drifted. They Tokyo drift the Chimera.
Uh,
No, this
Yeah, I
one I
don't-
gave a really high score.
What'd you
'cause
give it?
I'm a big fan of Steel Legion.
okay.
I gave it an 8,
All right.
which isn't the highest one I gave, but I think that is pretty high.
8 tie. Yeah.
Yeah. I gave it an 8.
You want me to explain it?
I-
You could go. Yeah.
I mean, if
Oh,
you're a Steel
go
Legion,
ahead,
fan,
go ahead,
you're a
Devin.
Steel Legion fan. Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, I think the idea of like mechanized infantry is really cool, and like driving up a bunch of chimeras, dropping off some dudes, blasting some shit, and moving to the next target is really cool.
Yeah, I'm so like there's a couple of these. This one and like Hammer of the Emperor. I'm like fully aware that I'm in the minority about how I feel about these. But like
I think you just hate
Yeah.
tanks. You just hate vehicles.
I love tanks. I just like I want detachments to do them a little bit better justice. That's all.
fair.
All right.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
fair.
tanks. Honestly, I would say maybe I like tanks too much.
Mm. Oh, so you're more critical because it's something you love.
Yeah.
See, that's
exactly,
fair.
Exactly. Which is why I'm also giving it a 4 on lore. It doesn't make me feel any type of way about anything. It doesn't really feel like it's a big cohesive force. It's just like half your army's cars, half your army's dudes. Have
That's
fun,
what a
I
mechanized
guess.
thing would be.
Yeah, I know. I think maybe like I'm just not a fan of the concept of a purely mechanized force.
That's fair, yeah.
I
I actually gave it a pretty high on lore.
The more I think about it, the more like I'm kind of okay with it. What did you give it?
Okay. I gave it a 9. I think this is
A
very
9?
fluffy, like the way it
Holy
incentivizes
shit!
you. I think this is very fluffy for like Steel Legion.
Okay,
Like,
okay. No, you're right.
the way I read the rules, I might just be wrong. Like when I'm reading the rules, but like the way it makes you want to play is that you have your transports, you drop off your guys, they do a lot of damage, and then you like go back in the transports and move somewhere else. And also it like makes your transports a little stronger. That's very like Steel Legion. What was it? I'm looking at the rules right now. I think it's rapid dispersal. That's the one where that one lets you move your guys right after they got out, so you like get really good movement. I don't know. I just think the way the rules read, I haven't played it obviously, but like the way it reads and the way I think they want you to play seems really fluffy to me.
Yeah, I think okay. So now, like, kind of looking back at my other scores, I think I do need to bump it up to at least a 5 because I gave Hammer of the Emperor a 4, but I definitely think these rules are a little bit more specific to a mechanized assault than Hammer of the Emperor was.
Plus,
specific
like
to tanks.
box relay, even
So,
like
yeah.
where you could have your commander in a chimera, or actually, could you put it? You could probably even put this in the I'm forgetting the Baneblade transport.
Stormlord.
Whatever that one is. That what it's called? Yeah, with the Gatling guns. This rule would let you
I
put your
always get 'em all
commander in there,
confused.
right? 'Cause that would count as a transport.
Embark to the transport, blah blah blah. You can
Yeah.
issue orders. Yeah, you can issue
Which I don't
orders
know.
out of a Beyblade,
I don't think you would want to do that, but that would be like pretty fluffy. Like Yarick had his own personal Baneblade where he yelled shit from.
Yeah. I mean, this is that's just like the Chimera rule, right? Like Chimeras just have that built in.
Yeah.
I guess being able to give
So,
it
like,
to a Baneblade chassis or a Torax is cool.
Yeah, or even a Torax. I think that sounds. I don't know if this would actually be good, but like putting it in a Torax would probably be good because you have more movement.
Toraxes
And so
are
if you
back on the
screened
menu.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Toraxes are back on
Yeah.
the menu for sure.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about painting mine.
I tried
don't
to
have a
3D print
Torax
one,
either.
but it was like half the size of a normal Torax when it came out. So I was like, oh, I can't use this.
Toraxes are like surprisingly big. I saw one in person. I'm like, wait, that's how big they are?
Yeah. They're like the size of a GSC truck.
Yeah, because
I
they
was
look
like,
like they look
oh,
like
no.
almost little buggy Jeep things.
Yeah.
But
Yep,
they're
they're big.
definitely like
I-
as big as a tank.
What do you think?
I give it a 9.
9. Oh my
I give
god,
it a
I'm so alone.
9.
I'm so alone.
You got outvoted.
I'm so
You
You know why
alone.
you know why you're alone, Jordan?
Because I'm wrong.
'Cause you didn't get back in the Chimera. We left you out in the ashway.
No.
That's what,
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's why I hate transports. It's all your fault.
I love transports. That's another reason I put it so high.
yeah.
I love a good Chimera.
Yes, I love a good Chimera. I love Steel Legion as much as I love to give my friend John grief, who he's in love with the Steel Legion. And but I love the idea of mechanized infantry. So having served in the military myself, I was an engineer, and I really loved like the Cav Scouts and all the other cool, unit types that got to use up armored vehicles. And when I had to use them, it was a pain in the rear end because it sucks getting your gear in and out of there as an engineer. But otherwise, they were really cool. And I love the idea of just being able to drive around and hop out and do stuff. I love also like the Vox relay, the stratagem where you can issue orders to the other transports. I thought was a really cool way to bring that narrative out. And so I think this has a lot of fun lore to it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, plus I'm just
talking me up to a
fantasizing
6.
about like putting my Kazarkin in like
Talk me up to a
chimeras and
6.
just like deploying fire teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more I hear you guys talk about it, the more I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah, you're just a hater. You're just
I'm a hater.
and
I'm a hater.
You want to kill all fun. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I actually. So having fun is like not a reason to play.
Not
this
allowed.
Game. There's like no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
No,
there's no fun
I
here.
agree. Yeah, honestly, I wish they would just like go away from the stupid models and like we have little cards or something. That way, it's like easier to get a competitive army going.
Yeah.
True. No, I fully agree. Yeah.
With stupid little figurines.
What are those even for? Just melt them down. Make
Yeah,
chess
that's
pieces
fucking
out of them.
dumb.
Play a real strategy game.
Which just use little tokens.
Yes.
It's just be little tokens, and it just
Exactly. Yeah, there
Just
we
like
go.
print them on paper and cut them out. Yeah. Boom. You're done.
Make it a video game. That's what real games are. Like this
True.
tabletop shit. What
So
are
I
we
heard,
in the freaking
I heard there was
20s?
this like kind of really cool like strategy video game called like Dawn of War or something like that, which is like almost
That
the
sounds
same.
a lot better than
It's
whatever
like
the hell
almost the
this
same.
yeah.
Except it's better. It's just this, but
It is better because it's a video game.
It's nerd shit.
Yeah. This shit's for nerds.
Yeah, this is for nerds.
It's
Sorry to tell you, fellas, but you're all nerds.
No, you can't do this.
What?
You son of a bitch.
I only paint little plastic models to impress women because I'm a slut nerd.
True.
Hell yeah. Go to bars with my 2,000 point army. Check this out. You ever heard of a chimera?
You thought we were here to have sex? No, I'm here to show you my warhammer collection. What do you mean?
What the fuck is Dex?
Never heard of her.
You're gonna help
Look
me
how
pay
many
my
tanks I
Ultramarine army.
Uh,
This one's named after a Primarch.
This one is too.
Hey, baby girl, do you know what Primarchs are? Have you ever heard of the Horus Heresy?
Sit down. Let me tell you a very short story.
She's just getting drier and drier. Much
So
like
there's
Marshall.
63 books here. We're gonna start at book 1. Okay. Speaking of women, approachability. I give this one a 7. Most of the approachability comes from a hobby perspective because I think transports, chimeras, and toroxes are like relatively easy to paint. Toroxes weirdly are like actually kind of hard to find right now. They have been for a while. I don't really know what the deal with that is.
Are they?
They are. This is why I had to 3D print one. But like chimeras are pretty abundant, so you won't have any problems there. And they're very easy to paint. From a rules perspective, I think this is like a little finessey. It's not quite as much as like the recon element detachment. But it takes some getting used to like having your dudes hop out of transports and back in and like where they need to be at what times. But I think it's for the most part pretty straightforward. So yeah, hit it with a fast 7.
Yeah, I had a similar line of thinking. I also think the fact that like it gives you more mobility is like a nice thing for new players. It's somewhat more forgiving because you can kind of like if you misplay, you can kind of correct yourself with the enhanced mobility. And yeah, I think chimeras are maybe the easiest thing to paint for guard. I might be missing some things, but like it really is just a box with treads. And it doesn't really have that many loadouts. You just like, okay, this is the chimera. And I feel like the rules are pretty easy to get. When I was reading them, I was like, okay, this makes sense. This is intuitive. So I also gave it a 7.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what else there is to say.
I gave it an 8.
8?
I think this is a very easy to play detachment. I think it's very forgiving. It's got a couple very obvious combos. So like for a new player, you go, oh, okay, I'm going to get my, smoke grenades and then also do like keep that available for the hasty extraction. So I get this one really resilient unit that my opponent just can't kill, who keeps jumping out and grabbing objectives and then hopping back in vehicles. And I think there's kind of fun combos like that in it too that make it real easy to play. And once again, model perspective. And the other thing is too, you want to collect Creed, you want to collect Cadians or Catachans or create your own custom regiment and do chimeras and toroxes. This is perfect because it doesn't feel like it has to be any particular regiment. If, it definitely leans Steel Legion lore-wise. But I think model collection-wise, this is anything. And I think that makes it great.
Yeah. And like every guard player already has like a bunch of transports too. So it's not like you're having to go out of your way to... Like maybe you pick up an extra chimera, an extra torox or something, but you're not going to like go super out of your way to build for this detachment.
Yeah, and does the transport rule apply to Valkyries or no? I can't remember if they have the transport keyword.
Valkyries do,
yeah, they do.
Okay, so that would be pretty cool. I think. I don't know if Valkyries are good right now.
No,
I heard they're
every flyer in the game is bad.
Okay.
But
I just love the idea of Valkyries.
Valkyries are cool, so you run them anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
I hadn't thought about this with Valkyries, like
because I think that could help.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. I got 3 of those Mammer Jammers sitting on the shelf. Ooh.
I love Valkyries.
I'm not saying I'm going to win, but I'm going to have fun.
There you go.
But it'll be cool, exactly.
Yeah.
Did you were running? What flyer was it that you were running at the narrative?
Oh, I ran both the Lightning and the Thunderbolt and the Marauder. I had the Marauder on my
my god, you had 3?
I had 3 flyers because I just don't care. And
as you should. As you should.
It's a narrative event. It's okay.
Yeah, my opponents were like, "Oh my god, you're so good at the game," and I'm like, "Did you see my list?" No.
I have not
No.
one, but 2 flyers in this list.
Yeah, we are here for a good time, and I'm guaranteeing it.
Yeah, I was playing the Brood Brothers GSC detachment. That detachment is so bad. But it's fun. So speaking of being good or bad, meta. I popped this one at a strongish 7.
Ooh.
I think this has the similar to the recon element. It has enough like movement tricks to get around, push buttons, auto see your opponents on objectives. As long as you're like piloting well and using every single one of the tricks in your toolbox, I think that you can absolutely take like some pretty big tournaments with this list.
Yeah.
Okay. I gave it an 8. I kind of took a shot in the dark, but it does seem pretty nice. I feel like you would be able to play the objectives pretty well just because you're so fast and you're like disembarking infantry, and then you kind of are able to put your guys where you need. I was just like mini theory crafting. I was thinking like if you had chimeras with like Kazarkin or Scions inside of them, you got a pretty mobile and hard hitting thing. Plus they could take objectives. I don't know if this is even true though, and I think the Vox relay is a good little thing. But again, I don't play competitively. I could just be wrong.
I mean, they say Warhammer 40k is won and lost in the movement phase, and this detachment.
Yeah, that was kind of my like line of thinking. I'm also like kill team brain, so I'm like, okay, objectives are very important.
Strat too hard, give me lethal hits. Exactly, Dan.
Yeah. Fair.
All right, what do you think on meta?
I think this is the most sleeper detachment out there. Now, I think there's some challenges.
Totally.
I think folks are really going to have to think about list building very differently with this because transports aren't going to innately have anti-armor, and you're going to be mediocre with it with your infantry, right? Maybe a meltoplasma gun, things like that, but you're not like taking out, demolishers or vindicators or something with that. So I give it an 8. I think it is fast, it's resilient, and then there are things in it like sticking 2 heavy weapons teams inside a chimera with las cannons, and then ordering that chimera to get take aim, and then technically the heavy weapons team, like if they shoot out the top, there's just like all these things like
chimeras only have firing deck 2 these days, right?
Well, they got firing deck 2, yeah. So, but like when you put what was the combo? I thought about this already. Shoot, now I forget. Is it? Oh no. Yeah. Nah, maybe I am thinking about it wrong. But anyways, there could be fun things like that where you shoot out and then they jump out. Sure. Yeah, and there's kind of some fun stuff you can play with it. I think Sentinels are an obvious buff. You take a few Scout Sentinels to get those reroll 1s in addition to all the other buffs this has. And so I think it plays really well to grabbing and holding objectives. You need to get to that table corner, you get to the corner. Like this plays into it really well.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
So that's every detachment in the book. Should we take a look at our final scores here?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Here we are.
Wow.
So Codex Astra Militarum gets I would say it's a pretty strong 7.2. That is nice. Very solidly above average. I think I'm pretty happy with this. I think I agree with this. Just going based off of the metrics that we're doing here, so the sex appeal, the lore, approachability, and meta. I think every detachment is like kind of either strong on like one half of that or the other half of that. There's not really any that are particularly excellent in every single one of those areas. So I think a 7.2 feels fair. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think that seems pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much else to say. Sounds good to me.
Sounds great.
I don't know what the other codexes you guys did the slam sector.
This is the first time we're doing a codex on this. So
this is oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what an honor. We did it.
Yeah, I am flattered.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us on this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I'm not used to reading like actual rules unless it's for kill team. So
Hey, we'll get you playing some
force me
40K.
out of my bubble. Yeah, no, I do want to play 40k because I have a lot of guardsmen and like I just keep on buying more with barely any direction.
Yeah.
Like because I was at LVO the other week, and I ended up buying like I want to say 60 or 70 Cadian shock troopers, like basically for no reason. Just because like they have like secondhand sellers and they're like really cheap for what they usually are. And I just love hoarding Cadian shock troopers.
I still have a Chaos Knight in a Ziploc bag that I bought from LVO.
Yeah, no, I have like barely any vehicles. It's the worst list ever. I have a ton of Kazarkin, I have a ton of Cadians, and I have like I think 4 Lehman Russes.
So hear me out.
The worst thing ever.
Recon element, 200 infantry models.
Yeah, there we go. Basically,
That's it.
No,
Wait, that's it.
Oh no, I have
more.
I have more than that. I have a Bane Blade. I have a bunch of Chimeras, a Valkyrie.
All right, hear me out.
But I need
Assault,
more
200 infantry.
I need more tanks. Yeah, Mechanized Assault 200 infantry. There we go. That would make
Now
the
you're
sex
talking.
appeal 11
Sex appeal off the charts.
off the charge.
Ugh.
I have infinite infantry in my
Oh my
Mechanized
God.
Assault army.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I have a big problem.
I can't really do that with any of my armies because I have 12 armies. So I can't like I guess like Dark Angels. I have like 12,000 points in Dark Angels, something like that. So
pretty
that's like
nuts.
that's like my biggest army. But yeah, I can't really.
That's why I
go
like
hard
Kill
with any of
Team.
them.
I
Space
could
Marines are
collect
just so
a bunch of
easy to
factions.
accidentally come upon.
Yeah, Space Marine. I made a Space Wolf army recently, and this is the first time I'm actually like kind of trying to make an army,
Yeah.
like with intention rather than just buying what I think looks cool. And I already went overboard with them. I'm like, oof.
Dude, I swear these Space Marines are just like multiplying in my closet. I don't know how it's happening.
No, yeah, and the fact that so many people sell them secondhand. Secondhand is like the most dangerous thing for me because I see it and I'm like, that's way cheaper than MSRP.
Oh,
Of course it's a good deal. And it's like, well, no.
Not when the price
That
is
is-
already overinflated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That is why my collection is as big as it is. So I get into this at the end of 6th and start of 7th edition. And so the game was like terrible, right? And everyone was just shedding their armies,
Yeah.
especially guard. Nobody was buying guard. So I was on eBay just like buying up lot after lot after
Yeah.
lot.
I'm jealous
And-
of your army. I saw it in I think it was your batch painting video. You showed your cabinet and I'm
Oh.
like, I want that.
Yeah.
What, just something just the size of Jordan's Dark Angels army?
So you like
It's one
yeah,
army.
exactly.
So you looked very shocked, and that concerns me because I didn't start playing this game until 9th edition. So
I think I got into at 9th as well.
Um,
In 2020. Because it was COVID that got me into Warhammer.
yeah, same. Yeah.
I was so depressed from playing video games all day. I'm like, I need to do something with my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, provided I probably have 20,000 points fully painted guard army.
That's my goal. I want to do that.
Yeah, that's over a decade of like sitting here. Yes,
Yeah.
precious. Painting
I
them
have-
up. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I don't even paint that fast. I paint super slow for like playing guard. And so over half of my army's unpainted right now. It's horrendous. But it's because I have like major FOMO because I don't like the new Cadians, like how they look. So I'm trying to hoard as many of the old ones as I could possibly find before they get like exorbitantly expensive. And that's why I went kind of crazy at LVO. I was like, okay, this is the best price I'm ever going to see probably. I
Yeah.
just need to buy them.
Yeah.
A lot of my Brood Brothers are like the old Cadians.
Oh, I love the old Cadians. I know a lot of people hate that they're stout and like cartoony, but that's what I love. That's why I got into them.
At last count, about 40,000 total painted points across all my armies.
That's the Warhammer 40,000. You have to stop now.
That is the
Yeah.
Warhammer 40,000. I think I'm over that.
I've
number
never
at
even
this point.
tallied my points.
I have a spreadsheet where I keep track.
like
of it.
realistically. I need that. I do need to do that because whenever I'm at the shop or like looking at eBay, I'm like, wait, do I need another one of these? How
Yeah.
many do I have?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm trying to like think in my head.
I have
Bad.
probably like 60,000 points of models, so like 20,000 of that's unpainted currently. But yeah.
No, I need to learn how to speed paint faster. That's why I was watching Steele's video on how to batch paint more efficiently.
Yeah.
Like,
If there's
it's
one
not
thing
good to
I'm
take
good
5
at,
hours on a
it's
guardsman.
batch painting. So when World Eaters came out, I built and painted 2,000 points of World Eaters over the course of a weekend, and Saturday and Sunday, because I needed to, because they came out Saturday.
I just can't do that.
They came out Saturday, so I had to drive to the store, pick all of my models up, come back, build all of it, paint it for Monday's stream.
Wow.
So
the
I
last
have
thing
like
I painted
a
was a
bad habit
Primera
of doing that.
Psyker, and it took me the whole weekend. It was horrible.
I've like mastered batch painting.
Devin, I'm
The
with
thing
you.
with batch painting, yeah. Batch painting like drives me insane though, because I like to see that I'm finishing things, and so when I have like 10 unfinished guys after a few hours, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah,
I'm
so
doing horrible.
Just for this past Monday's stream, I had to paint 10 Cadian shock troops, 10 Scions, 10 Casterkin, Ursula Creed, a Rogel Dorn, and 3 Sentinels. And so I did that over the course of Saturday and Sunday.
That would take me a year if you were lucky.
Yeah, 2 days.
Yeah.
Scions take me especially long. Those are super hard to paint. Like they just have so many details, and like it's a 5-man little squad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, ooh, these take a long time.
Oh my God, Jordan, you have to reach out to like Hobby's Hero Brush Hour.
Okay.
Have you ever been on their stream? Have you ever watched it?
No.
They do a 1-hour painting thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, and I was panicked the whole time, by the way, because normally I take 2 hours per Cadian, and I had to paint a single Cadian 1 hour on their stream. Oh my God!
Oh, one Cadian? That's like 10 minutes. I'm done.
Oh my God!
Now hold on. Am I allowed to use an airbrush?
I don't know. I've never seen anybody do that on their stream.
Because that's
what is
that's
their
like
stream?
half my magic is airbrush.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have an airbrush, but all I use it for is priming. I don't use anything else.
I do priming and I do like volumetric highlighting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jordan, I'm starting to think you have that magical time device like
Yeah,
Trajan
exactly.
has. Yeah.
Yeah,
You just-
I have
You're
been
just cheating.
told. I have been told that I am in fact like a Thousand Sun Psyker, and I do just like manipulate time at my will.
No, yeah, if you're able to paint that fast, you're allowed to have that many points.
What is it called? Hobby Rush Hour? What is it called?
Yeah, it's they're on Twitch and Instagram and
Twitch?
stuff. It's Hobby
Yeah.
Heroes Brush Hour. Yeah.
Hobby Heroes Rush Hour. Yeah, I'll definitely check
Interesting.
that out because I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
The thing is, too,
Yeah.
I can speed paint. It's just that I love the heavy metal style, and like that does not lend itself to speed painting in the slightest.
Yeah.
I've wanted to. I'm going to. Okay, no, I'm committing right now. I'm going to do a speed paint of Astra Militarum infantry models. I will do a video on it. But the reason I haven't is because I'm so nervous about doing it because I'm so used to it. And I'm like, I don't know if I can. And I literally even have test ones already set up. They're sitting over the side that I've like so it's all highlighted already. And then I'm just like, I can't watch this. I can't do it.
Yeah, your Cadians look really good. I remember
Thanks,
watching
man.
So
Look at that.
These were the 3 Sentinels that I painted this weekend.
What?
You
And
paint
then-
that in
Get
a
outta here.
weekend? That would take me like
And then all of
a
these
month.
Scions. Scions.
What?
That's my
Oh, I
Ursula
like that
Creed.
Creed.
Yeah. And then this doesn't have like the Rogaldorn and Lehman Rust that I had to paint also. Yeah, that's like a normal
I cannot
weekend.
paint that fast.
I have. I'm not even going to show you the shame that's on my hobby table right now.
Brush
But there's
hour.
so many models because I can't get
Yeah.
them finished. Like
It makes
I have
me
Rough
sick.
Riders. I haven't finished my Rough Riders. When did those come out? 2 years
A
ago.
long time
yeah.
ago.
Yeah, it's been 2
Yeah.
years, I think.
They're still on my painting table.
No.
Yeah. I have the Aquilons I didn't even touch yet.
I'm repainting all of my Eldar this week for the Eldar Codex.
You're repainting them? See, whenever I can't even repaint things because I feel guilty. I'm like, if I repaint this, I'm gonna have even more gray. I'm gonna be in the negatives.
I've been trying to like figure out a color scheme that I want to do for my Eldar, and I finally settled on doing them like a bright yellow. I didn't do that before because I had yellow Votan.
Bright yellow would take me a year to do a squad.
So I had to get rid of my Votan because I couldn't have yellow dwarves and also yellow elves. That just like doesn't feel right. That's like bad juju. Can't have that.
Yeah.
So got rid of my Votan, so now I can have yellow elves. So I'm just gonna redo them as that.
Nice.
And because elves are cowards, so it's fitting.
True. No, I can't. I cannot paint fast in the slightest. I tried painting because I thought the space will. My Space Wolf army, I'm like, this will be fast to paint because it's one color. I just have to pick out some details. Space Wolves take forever to paint too. That was like the actual last model I painted recently. For my guard, it was a primary Psyker, but the last thing I painted was Grey Hunter, and that one took me so long. I meant to have a kill team ready for LVO so I could play with some people I was meeting up with. And I got one guy done. I'm like, man, I feel silly. I was like, I could get 6 done in a month. I got 1 done. I was like, it's horrible.
I need to find the Kasrkin because I painted some Kasrkin too that I was really proud of this weekend.
I love the Kasrkin.
Painted a whole unit in a weekend, a whole unit of Kasrkin.
Yeah, and also the other stuff, but yeah.
I got 10 out of 40 of mine done.
No.
10 out of 40 are finished. That's it.
I think I have 20 out of 50 done, so I'm slightly better, I think, in terms of how many things I got done. I painted this Kasrkin. I painted this one somewhat recently, and this one took forever because also I kind of kit bashed it a little bit to have 2 pistols instead of a sword, and I kept on redoing the arm. Oh yeah, those look sick.
Yeah, so
dude, those look amazing.
And do you freehand the
that was freehand
because that takes a long time too.
Yeah.
Whenever I freehand,
I was like trying to find a
transfer
for it, and I was like, damn, there isn't really one that does what I wanted to do, so I had to freehand it.
Yeah. Well, that seems like it would be a pain to do with transfers.
Yeah.
It probably would be nicer
on, like,
to do
the wavy
freehand.
cloak.
Yeah. No, this Kasrkin I just sent you, this one took forever. Especially because I kit bashed that arm. And it's the dumbest detail. It's like literally just the bicep part of the arm. I kept on redoing it with green stuff.
That looks sick, though.
And it was stupid.
I love that scheme. That scheme is rad. And the basing.
Thank you.
See,
that's
I think I save a lot of time on basing because I'm very lazy with my basing.
Basing takes me a long time. Even when I paint them, I don't finish the bases.
Yeah.
And it takes freaking forever. But
I love that scheme.
Yeah, I'm bad at painting in a timely manner. I'll probably never finish.
I love your basing.
Yeah, it's really
Thank you. Yeah, I do the water bases. I did the water base on my Space Wolf because I was like, should I do the classic ice space or should I make the Space Wolves look like they could fight alongside my guardsmen? And I ended up okay, yeah, they should have water bases. So that's somewhat unique. I think they have a Sea Wolf great company. But I wanted mine to be the black mains because I like Ragnar.
Yeah,
Ragnar's
red.
Those bases do take a while, and I'm bad at planning things.
Oh my god, that looks beautiful.
Yeah, that fucks, dude.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, I tried to paint 6 of those, and I was like, why did I think I could do that?
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, man. Those are
Thank
really
you.
Cool.
But now I'm dreading making the army. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Now they all have to look like this? God damn it.
Yeah.
That's what happened with my Chaos Legionary. I started a Legionary kill team, and I picked the worst scheme ever for like painting. It was white armor panels with dark gunmetal trim, and then like baby blue accents. And all those colors are horrible to work with each other. Yeah. Because white obviously is horrible. The baby blue is horrible. And then any mistake I would make on the trim with the gunmetal would just ruin the scheme and add like 30 minutes of fixing it. It was ridiculous. I was like, I'm never painting this again.
Yeah, I feel you on that, man.
And it didn't even look like how I imagined it would. So I just scrapped the whole scheme. I'm I'm painting Black Legion.
I'm sitting on like tons of just like scrapped color schemes for sure.
Yeah.
That is my biggest problem is creating custom color schemes.
Mhm.
And I struggle so hard with it, which is why like I defaulted to the standard Cadian colors,
Oh,
right?
I love doing the
love
custom
those.
schemes. I love
Yeah,
the normal Cadian one too.
I know everyone thinks I'm a really good painter, but when it comes to like start mashing colors together to make my own thing, my
No,
brain
your
is
paint
not
schemes
there.
are really good.
Yeah.
I was watching. I think I watched the heavy weapons team one. I was like, wow, these are really nice.
Ooh, yeah.
Especially I loved your Vestroyans, the Vestroyan heavy weapon squad. Oh, nice. I like those Kazarkin.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with the Vestroyans. So this is one
Love
of
that
those where
glow.
Yeah, that plasma is so
Yeah.
good.
I cannot do
That's
plasma.
just-
That's one thing I struggle with.
I like it. I figured
Wait,
out
how do
just,
you
like,
achieve
being
that
able to.
plasma?
So it's I thin down the colors and just
Mhm.
thin them more and more and more as I get brighter and brighter
Oh,
and brighter.
okay.
So they recess farther and farther down and
I
collect.
gotcha.
And then so it looks like that the glow is more internal, and then the
Yeah.
heat fins that come out are darker, but it
Mhm.
creates that nice glow effect, and that's what I do. So I just keep thinning them down and letting them just kind of
Yeah.
fall in.
Gotta try
The
that.
the trick I figured out
I
with
gotta try
plasma
that.
is you have to paint outside the lines, and it looks really good.
Yes.
Oh, like beyond the coils.
Yeah, like beyond the coils and
yeah.
beyond the like little cutouts. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just kind of splatter just a little bit with your brush tip. Yep.
Yeah, I usually get
mix
lazy.
it-
I just use the wherever that contrast paint is over white, and I'm like, that looks fine, I guess. But then I see other people who paint plasma glow. I'm like, this looks horrible. I hate my plasmas.
Airbrush also works.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I need to start utilizing my airbrush for more than just priming. I see
Yeah.
really cool effects with them.
Like figuring out how to like properly work with my airbrush is huge. It just lets you get a lot of like little volumetric highlights and additions to like glow and stuff.
Mhm.
But before we get too far in a rabbit hole, I think we should go ahead and wrap things
Yeah,
up.
this
We're
is
all
a competitive stream, not this hobby
Yeah.
nerd stuff.
yeah. We're
Painting,
all
that's for nerds.
yeah. Krakduk has won 5 GTs. I've won 6. Steel has won.
Yeah,
8,
we're all meta
so-
gamers.
8 GT.
I actually
8
sell my
GTs,
army.
yeah.
8 GTs. Wait, it went up. You
I
won
think-
2 in the span of the stream.
Yeah.
I think I've only been to 8 GTs, let alone winning any.
I've never been to a GT.
No, me neither.
Oh my god. Okay.
I did
do
win
have a
5 of
great.
them, but I've never been to one.
I have a great competitive story.
All right.
I just want to share.
Story time. Go
This
for it.
is
Let's hear
great.
it. Let's hear it.
My very first tournament ever was a little RTT in my hometown. And I show up because I've met some of the guys and I'm the new player and I got carrying my army in. And I mean, seriously, like I'm so new. My army's mostly just Xandri dust primed and I've splotched some green on shoulder pads, kind of like I've just got into the hobby. And I'm like, oh, hey, let's play some games. And round 1, I get crushed. Fine, whatever. It's 7th edition also. I get crushed.
Mhm.
Round 2, I go up against TJ Lanigan,
Okay, that's a bad time.
who has, even up to that point, year after year, always placed in the top.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know who TJ was. He's just some dude wearing a tie at the tournament. I'm just like,
Uh-huh.
I was like, hey, you kind of dress up all kinds of fancy for this. Oh, I guess, well, as long as you're having a good time, all right, let's play. And we got to like turn 2, and he looked at me, and he reached across the table, and he goes, good game. I'm really confused, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, what do you mean? I still have like lots of models. And he goes, oh, the game's over. He goes, you lost. And he goes, you want me to explain it to you? And I'm like, yeah, he's being cool. Like he's being polite about it. He's not being a jerk. And I'm like, yeah, because I really have no idea what's going on. And he sat there and he talked through everything that had just happened. And he goes, so basically you can no longer wound my entire army. I'm, because this is back when
There were, like,
your
tables.
weapons would be useless.
Yeah.
And he explained, he goes, yeah, I killed these units in your army, this and that, and this and that, and this and that. You can't even wound me anymore. I'm already on these objectives. My demons are multiplying. You'll never get past it, and I've maxed out my score. Good game.
Oh my god.
And I went,
Rip.
all right.
You
And
know
I
what?
shook
You're right.
You got me there.
And there was still like an hour and a half or 2 hours left in the round.
You
And I
just shoot the
just
shit for the next 90 minutes?
Yeah. It was just me and our friend John Williams, who I think was running the tournament time, or Jerry Toppins, and we just went and just chatted for the rest of the round. And I was like, okay. And I had no idea who, like I said, no idea who TJ even was. Didn't realize he even drove down to West Virginia to play games in Pennsylvania. I was like, what the heck? And so I've been friends with him ever since. He's
Nice. That's awesome.
very wonderful.
That is pretty awesome.
But yeah, that was my very first RTT experience.
Yeah. That's not even a GT. That's just an RTT.
Yeah. I think we had like 24 players or something. And I go up against TJ Lanigan. I'm like, what the?
Oh my god. That's unlucky.
Rip.
Yeah. Good times.
All right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. First thing, I want to say thank you to all of our members. If you guys want some cool perks, you can join as a channel member. And thank you especially to our Slambo members, One Speed Wonder and Swanee. For some reason, you guys give us a lot of money for us to commit vandalism on your behalf. So, thank you, Slambos.
Hell yeah.
So,
I
any
like that name.
Slambos?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's
Is that supposed to be based on the Chaos Warrior? Or
it is.
that just...
So we have a little
okay.
Slambo model that we hide during every stream somewhere on the
Oh, hell
battlefield.
yeah.
And now I'm forgetting what it stands for. Secret League of I'm forgetting. I forgot. Something and based opinions. Forgot.
Close enough.
Advanced membership. Secret League of Advanced Membership and Based Opinions.
Okay, that
Slambo.
makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
If there's any
I'm
more
almost happy to be on
codexes
people's
you guys are
streams and
interested in rating for, let me know. I know you guys are primarily
What's the next
Guard
one's coming
guys,
up?
but
I know that
Eldar and Emperor's Children.
Salamanders is coming up soon. Those guys are cool.
Nobody knows what that Salamander's book is.
Yeah, I wonder.
I have an
what it
inkling
would
that
be.
it's not a codex. I have an inkling that it's a narrative book.
Oh, is that? I thought it was an actual codex.
I don't think I don't because
I
didn't explicitly
it would
say
be a
that
supplement, right?
So I think my thought is it's probably going to be a narrative book of some kind that just heavily features.
Oh,
Salamanders.
okay, that'd be kind of cool.
But yeah,
Yep.
we'll have to see on that. But they're
I hope they
like
get
down the
more
road
than
somewhere.
one model.
Yeah,
or even just one model would be cool.
for sure.
I realize more than one model might be ambitious for the Salamanders.
Maybe a unit, perhaps.
Yeah.
As a
I want
tree?
them to get updated fire drakes. I don't think that would happen, but that would be really cool. Like 40k fire drakes instead of just the 30k ones.
Which one
But
are those? The
we'll have to
Terminators?
see. They're the Terminator like honor guard. I think fire drakes and Vulcan his stand update would be really cool.
Nice.
And also, I hope they keep Vulcan his stand firstborn, but they probably will primarisify him.
Well, they did.
I just think the idea
Black
of like
Templar's
some
Castellan, right? That was like, quote unquote.
Yeah, he was like
firstborn.
ambiguous. Yeah. I think it shouldn't be that every single commander is firstborn. I mean, Primaris. I think it's more interesting that only some of them undertake it.
Agreed.
But we'll have to see.
Yeah. All right. So with all that out of the way, thank you guys for joining me, and have a good night, everyone. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Good night, everybody. Goodbye, slammers.
Slammers.
I got.
All right. That was fun. Thank you guys
Okay,
so
cool.
much.
I didn't know if we were just leaving from there or
No,
if we're
yeah,
doing a little after talk.